Hello, everyone. Hoping you can hear me. Christine, can you hear me? Hello? Oh, all right. That's wonderful. So yay. Perseverance. This is a lesson in perseverance. So we'll give people a few minutes just to roll in again. But happy to see everyone turning up. I was going to be letting go if I couldn't work this out. But thanks to the great tech team behind the scenes, Christine, Beth, really helpful to have you there. And so just giving people a few more minutes. Actually, when you couldn't hear me, what I was talking about was, sorry for the delay. I'm technology challenged and it was living proof, but this is what we practice with. And this is a good place. We're talking about relaxing the tension, and this is a lesson in itself. So anyhow, it's so wonderful to see people turning up from around the globe. We've got Seattle, France, Mount Horeb. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. South Korea, Cincinnati. I know I saw Paris before, Florida, Brazil. Oh, wonderful. So, yes, still people arriving, but yeah. So I just wanted to say a few words in the beginning as this is the last of the live streaming. I think there still is a couple of meditations this week, but we're shifting gears, and we've been together here for a few months now, since the pandemic began, and we've had just this wonderful opportunity with Mingyur Rinpoche to be hearing teachings from him, to be hearing teachings from the other instructors, and to have the facilitators recapping some of those teachings and then leading meditations. And, this has been, I think, for me, one of the great benefits of this time, that just as a global community, or people really interested in not just losing our way in this time of uncertainty, but really wanting to see how during this time we can foster the qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, that we can use the challenges that we face to come home to ourselves and really find that discovery of these qualities within us that helps us to find a responsiveness in life, where we're living into our full potential. We're nurturing all of our capacities and capabilities. So rather than being stopped by circumstances, we have during this time really been looking at how we can use these circumstances to really come back to our true nature, to come back to, just that sense of being at home within ourselves. And so, week after week, Mingyur Rinpoche has pointed us towards this innate nature that we all have, and this is not anything restricted to Buddhist teachings. It is just like when we peel away all the levels of delusion, all of the confusion, that this is what we find. And so this is what we've been looking to in this time. And it certainly has been this time of challenge, this time of so much uncertainty. And that this uncertainty has its own way of helping us to break apart the strong sense of solidity that we can give to the world around us in ways that just aren't true. And it helps us to really touch into, that when that breaks apart, this is where, it's like the rays of sunlight start to burst through the clouds. We start to see something of our true nature in a way that we can recognize it as such. It's not that our true nature has not been there, but it has been obscured. We've been confused by the experiences in our lives. And so what a time it's been. I just want to acknowledge that. And I want to acknowledge all of you around the world for turning up, being in this. It is a time where, sometimes we just want to pull the cover over our heads. And and sometimes we need to do that, acknowledge that sometimes it's too much, but that each of us in our own ways has been participating, has been turning up from each other, for each other, for each other. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for turning up in the world in the way you are. Thank you for really wanting to look into your own hearts and minds. And, as human beings, we can just do the best that we can. So, yeah, thank you. So what we're going to, as I mentioned earlier on, the title of today's talk is about relaxing when tension is present. And so we had a direct teaching on this in the beginning when I was fumbling with technology. And, there is something so beautiful in this. But first, I want to do this more as a practice. Because then I'm sure we all have our own experience with this. I mean, so much of what we've been working with over this time has been around, some level of uneasiness, tension, tightness. And many of the teachings have been helping us to practice with that, whether it's been talking about the fear, the anxiety, the pain, the confusion, that is, we start to grip in these places. We start to get tense. And so on a certain level, we have had these teachings through this time, and probably many of us for many years, and yet they always come alive in new ways. We can always hear something in a fresh way. But I'd really like to be hearing from you today, and because here we are. What do we know about practicing relaxing with tension? And I'm sure that you have lots that you have learned about relaxing with tension. So what we're going to do is we're going to begin with a short period of meditation, and we're going to actually, in our own experience, look towards the different ways that we might see tension, where it might be turning up in our experience. And the emphasis being on relaxing with this. Know that, there's going to be moments where there's a level, I often feel it in my shoulders on a gross level, a level of tension that's there. And you can't say, relax, 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 and the shoulders go up more. It's relaxing with the allowing. It's really based in that level of acceptance that this is here right now. And we're really letting this be reflected in reality, reflected in awareness, that this is the way things are right now. And it's okay. So very much when we're practicing relaxing with these uncomfortable states, these awkward moments, then we are practicing with acceptance. This is how it is right now. It's okay. And awareness, this, Mingyur Rinpoche talks about awareness over and over and the essence of meditation. And it's awareness when we really just rest in this natural capacity of the mind to know that it just does it. It just reflects what's there. And we just relax right there. Then we can know the tension. We can know see the different levels of subtlety of gripping, of hanging on, which is, that where we get bound. So even it sounds so simple, like on one level, tension, and yet it goes from the gross level of my shoulders being to the subtlest level of identification or clinging to experience that creates a sense of I. So, tension goes right through our experience. And the more that we can just be at home, be at ease, allow and rejoice in the seeing, rejoice that we have this capacity to know, and just allowing it to be as it is. We're not compounding, we're not adding to, we're not aggravating that tension. Actually, in talking about that, I'm just remembering back to, I had the good fortune in the last week to do a lot of hiking in Minnesota, which is where I am. Right now, we're in the midst of a really hot spell. And but we were Edwin, my husband, and I we were out hiking. And I was playing with this aspect of tension when I started to get tired. And, there could come this tension of, got to keep going, got to keep doing this, and then there could be a way that I could allow whatever discomfort, whatever was there, and relax with that and keep going. And it was just amazing to watch the difference in the two. And so, that just, again, going back to this aspect of acceptance that is in relaxation, that allows discomfort to be there. So, as I said, we're going to meditate with this. We're going to explore this in our own experience. So, beginning by finding comfortable body posture where the spine is loosely upright, and a sense of relaxation, softening in the muscles. And just taking a moment to arrive in this present moment, here together with people from around the world. And if it's helpful, just taking in a deep breath, breathing out, and letting go. Just let be. In, out, let be. Just resting in the simplicity of this moment. And then taking a moment to reflect on whatever it is that moves you to practice. Just giving language to your heart. Whether it's just this pull to be happy, to be free, to be of service in the world, to help, to get out of our own way. Whatever it is for you, just touch into this. And notice the qualities of love, compassion. Notice the pull to wisdom that is within this. However basic and simple it may seem. And just setting a motivation within our own hearts that as we gather here together, we do this to bring into the world, to nurture, to foster the qualities of love, compassion, wisdom, and to help to benefit all of the beings everywhere. And then, for a few moments, just letting everything go and resting in awareness, this natural knowing of the mind. It's the simple presence. With all of the sense doors open, and just relaxing, resting within this. And then becoming aware of places in the body that we may be holding. There may be tension, maybe in the forehead between the eyebrows, around the eyes, the shoulders, or in the back. And just allowing these sensations to be reflected in awareness as they are. Awareness can accommodate everything without judgment. Just feeling, knowing these sensations directly. It isn't that the sensations will necessarily disappear, but that we're allowing. It's okay. Using these very sensations as a support. And remembering if at any time this doesn't feel right for you, it's okay to shift to something that is more neutral or even pleasant that you can connect with. Sometimes, as we connect in with tension, we start to connect in with emotions, thoughts. Just seeing if right now we can just stay on the level of physical sensations, but doing so with kindness, care. So almost in some way as if awareness is holding these sensations with tenderness. Maybe checking in with the sensations in your belly. Is there tightness, tension? Just allowing this to be. It's okay. It's relaxing with the knowing of these sensations. Maybe checking in with your heart center. Just allowing whatever sensations are there to be known. We are relaxing, even if there's still tension. If we're allowing these sensations to be known. Just having a sense of resting in the presence of tension. It's okay. We may find that the holding is happening on more subtle levels. Just kind of a slight discomfort in which there's a clenching. Just feeling, knowing this experience. Or it may be a mental tension. Maybe we're trying really hard to accept, to relax. Just relaxing, accepting the scene of even this. It's okay. Rejoicing in this capacity to know this. Okay. You can just rest for a moment if your eyes have been closed. Just gently opening your eyes and coming back into the awareness of being here as a community, the awareness of being here with like-minded people. And if you want to, you could share in the chat box something of what it is for you when you were practicing with tension. What was your experience here? And just remembering every experience is valid. It's our experience. There's not a wrong experience. And so, it will differ in different circumstances. It will be, we'll all experience it uniquely, and yet there's often similarities too. So, yeah, just take a moment to put something in the chat box about what your experience was, if you feel to. I know for me, it's like I could watch within that as there was awareness of the sensations without saying relax, without doing anything with it, but just by knowing of the sensations, there was a letting go. There was a letting be, that it just allowed what was there to be there. Let's see, what do we have? Reminds me of practicing lames while giving birth. Yeah. Well, I think this is where mothers really get deep training in this for sure. See, the knot in my back reminds me to allow it. That's such a simple statement on one level, and that there's so much in that, so much instructional in that. It's like that place of tension. It's the reminder. It's the wake-up bell. And it's like, oh yeah, it just brings us back. So same, knot in back is not as tense now. I felt some fear and grief along with the tension. Thank you for saying that, because that is, when we go into the tension, we are going into a lot of what we are holding, and the body really holds in our lives. And so as that happens, it can be that the emotions, the thoughts, we might get memories, a lot can surface in that, allowing that tension to be there. And so that's where we want to practice with kindness. And we don't want to practice in a harsh way that says, I should be able to be with this. It could be that we can touch into that fear, know that fear. Maybe we even just feel the sensations of that fear. And then it becomes too much. That's when we want to be able to shift awareness to a place that doesn't feel so threatening, to where we can be present. So we want to just really honor our own process within all of this. So when I relax and accept, there is a moment of finally coming home. It is very tender, and there is a tiny bit of sadness. Yeah, this is the human life. There's so much potential in it. There's so much accessible to us. And, it's not easy. It's hard. And it's not hard for us. It's hard for everyone. And that, so there's that natural pull that binds us, that brings us together, that is shared. And there's the possibility to be free of that. Yes, someone says, I love it when Rinpoche tells us that allowing we can't relax is relaxing. Such compassion. Yes, very much so. Someone says, tension on my stomach is gone as I am aware and allow it. That mirrored a lot of what my own experience was in that practice. Just letting it be as it is. We don't compound it. We don't solidify it. We don't become it, and it's nothing to get rid of. Our trying to get rid of something actually fuels it. And it's really wonderful when we start to see that in the mind and go, oh, I don't need to do that. Actually, that was another piece of my lessons from hiking during the week, where just seeing that at times around physical sensations, and when I'm getting tired, that's when the world can really solidify. But I could just see, oh, that's a thought. It's not helpful. I don't need to follow that. And poof, then it doesn't become reality. And it's so much more free. It's so much more open. So, yes. It's very hard for me to relax, I realized. I feel restless and a feeling like running away. At the end of this period, I was finally able to feel relaxed. And to me, that says that you actually were relaxing within it. It's what happens, though, is we get so focused on the experience that we aren't aware of the awareness. And so there's that, the feeling of the jitteriness. But as we just let that be a support to awareness, then we don't identify in the same way with those sensations. So, and the result of that I think what you're pointing to is similar to what's pointed to with the relaxing of the tension in the stomach or the back, where it starts to dissipate because it isn't fixed. The ability to notice and allow instead of trying to reject tension in the body is so helpful. Yeah. Allowing the tension in my jaw, I felt grief and anger. Resting in that, there was some softness. This word softness, that's something I have found that helps me to see when acceptance is there. And that is especially with the discomfort, that when, there's a tight, hard sensation, but there's an acceptance, there's just a light softening. And it's not, you can't make softening happen, but it lets me know that there is some level of acceptance in being with. And, I found that really helpful in practices of loving kindness, compassion, if I was doing it for myself and it was difficult, if there was a sense of it being difficult, but there's a softening, then I knew it was okay. It wasn't like feeding some habit. It was just an indicator to me that, oh yes, this is painful, but this is how it is right now, and it's okay. Yeah. I'm afraid if I relax, I will fall apart. I just rejoice in your seeing that. I think it's so helpful to see the ways. This is kind of the tension of seeing the creation of I. the beliefs in the mind that we can carry that keep us having this kind of fixed identity, which becomes a self-made prison. If we go on to do the Joy of Living 3 Awakening Wisdom teachings, we really begin to tease this apart, how these beliefs that are there keep us from seeing our true nature, keep us from that sense of being at home. Because, it really makes sense to me why we have all these mistaken perceptions, because in so many different ways, that's what the world we construct a world where we feel more secure through the conceptual mind. And what Mingyur Rinpoche is turning us to is the non-conceptual mind and the freedom that is within that. It can allow concepts, but it isn't bound by concepts. It is a much freer place, but because we don't really trust that this happiness is within us, that we have to navigate our way through life in a way that we will get the most from it, which is all constructed through a lot of ideas, beliefs, thoughts. It's all been conditioned, and it goes back to probably in the womb. I think more and more research is saying that. It's been constructed, and so the thought of letting all of those constructs go is scary, because no, this was how I was getting my sense of security. But actually, this is one of the lessons of this time, because we've seen that all of those constructs can be blown apart in a moment. And it's like, how can we really learn to trust and rest in our innate nature, our true nature, which isn't constructed in the same way. It's not a constructed conceptual experience. But this is what we touch into as we touch into these levels of tension, and so I think it's just beautiful that you were able to see that. And so then it becomes in the scene of this thought, just relaxing, allowing, letting it be. Because, it too, that very idea is just one of those clouds moving through this vast field of awareness. And just let it be that. It's okay. Okay. Yeah, so thank you so much for, I'm sure I skipped here and there, just was where my eyes were meeting in the chat box. But thank you so much for sharing some of your experience, because I think it speaks to us all. And it speaks to just how we can learn to relax with tension. And as with any of these challenges that we have faced during this time, and this is what we bring to the path. This is where we can wake up, is to where we hold on, where we are stuck. And by becoming more and more familiar, by really beginning to trust in this power of awareness, and just that simple piece of seeing that as we're with the tension in our body, without trying to relax, just by allowing it, the relaxation happens, that we see right there. That's the power of awareness. That's the power of letting things be. And so, we come back to this over and over, remembering what Rinpoche says about awareness is the essence of meditation. And we gain confidence in this, and this is actually, when I was going through the technology issues in the beginning, I really saw that I had to keep staying with perseverance, because there was a point where I was, doing all the things I know to do around sound on the first stream, and nothing was working. And there was a part of me, well, that's the end of it, because I've done everything I know that is possible, and I still keep coming up with the same result. And it was in staying with it that something changed, and I do not know what changed, but something changed. And so, we need this, like, and it's not uncommon that we go through these really challenging times. We go through the being with the tension, the tightness, and it feels like, we're up against something that feels so solid, so real, so whatever. And just that invitation right there, be, it's okay. It's okay, and then who knows? And life is full of infinite potential. I remember actually just going back to when I was 25 years old. I felt like my life had gone beyond my wildest dreams already at 25. And, of course, there's been great moments where it's felt more challenging, and times of repetition, feeling so mundane. It's not that it's been easy in so many ways, but I still keep being amazed. I still keep like, what? and this is what we can keep opening up to on a daily basis when we open our eyes. And here we are again. It's totally amazing. I mean, am I the only one that thinks this? But yeah. And so, amazing in the face of difficulty. And always, even coming back to, it's challenging here, even that we can know that challenge. What? Where does this come from? Where does this, it just is. Yeah. Yeah. So there, I want to talk a little bit about, because we're shifting here from we've been doing these live streaming events to, and this is the last of the Sundays that's going to happen in this way. And, I just really hope that no matter where we go from here, that we will keep practice at the center of our lives, because, that is what gives us the potential of having a happy is such a funny word, I know, but having a meaningful, easeful life where we flourish, a life where we flourish. And that flourishing, we know, doesn't have to happen just when conditions are pristine. And so, whatever we do from here, and it's so interesting living here in the States right now, the pandemic is accelerating. So, but we totally are not at the end of this. We're not in that same place where it felt like just being blasted apart into uncertainty of, what does this mean? Will I have food tomorrow? I mean, we don't know what it means. But, and I know some places around the world are in a really different place because of it's been handled quite well. But we really don't know where we go on this level. And that's where we do still want to keep practice at the center of our lives. So remembering that a daily practice, it is that grounding point in our day. It is that place of, you got the little, those, I don't know what they're called, the snow things where you shake them up and the flakes fall. It's like being able to let that just settle for a moment, being able to really touch into what's here. I mean, that's one of the things we see in our daily lives, is we don't even know what's here because we're moving so fast and not even aware in that. And of course, we want to be able to practice in our daily life. And so this just helps us ring that bell of awareness, that remember, and to notice. So many times I might have seemed okay in some way, and I sit down and I feel, all this different places of holding within the body. Really, really helpful. And, through that being a gateway to understanding the emotional responses, seeing the emotional responses or the ideas that I'm holding on to that are there. So having the daily practice really, really helpful. And then within Tergar, Mingyur Rinpoche is going to begin offering a series of online retreats beginning next Saturday with the Joy of Living, Calming the Mind retreat. So if you have the opportunity, it's a 3-day program. And if you have the opportunity, it's really a way to have more sustained time of practice. And in my own life, retreat has been invaluable. It just allows a greater, more through the more extended time of just allowing oneself to remember to be with awareness, that what I found was so many more of my habits, of impulses that I usually act on, get seen. And, that in that seeing, they can either be let go of, or, in our lives, we might follow through in skillful actions. So it's been key for me in learning to understand my own heart and mind. And so is doing calming the mind first. And I want to say that no matter how long you've been practicing, what's taught in calming the mind is so essential. And it's essential day to day in our lives, that it will be a practice that we come back to over and over again. So and I have been teaching calming the mind in the Tergar world since it began, in, I don't know, 2010, maybe we did the first program. So, and I learned from it all the time. It just, I couldn't listen to it enough. I couldn't, and like I said at the beginning of this, that, there's always fresh things to be learned, to be seen. And because it is just so much coming back to that freshness of mind. I can see I'm steaming up here behind my glasses. And then after that, he'll be doing a Joy of Living, Awakening Wisdom. So we won't have the level 2 online as a live program. There is a newly put together version of Opening the Heart, Joy of Living 2, that is available online. And, it has some fresh teachings from Rinpoche on these qualities of loving kindness, compassion, joy, equanimity, the 4 immeasurables. And really, these qualities, they're in our hearts, and finding access to them is something that we need, the world needs. And so, I would encourage you, if you finish the level 1, to go on to the level 2. But there will be a level 3. And this is a rare opportunity. Very often we don't get the Awakening Wisdom teachings directly from Mingyur Rinpoche. And so, in these retreats, there'll be, a few hours every day from Mingyur Rinpoche, and then that will be supplemented by some teachings from instructors and facilitators. So they all look to be quite wonderful. And then for those more interested in the Buddhist path, there's also a Nectar of the Path. And then those on the Buddhist path, there's some follow-up retreats. So that's going to take us through for another 5 weeks. And who knows where in the world we will be by then, and what will come up next. But this is the next chapter that's coming up. But of course, these streaming teachings are always available online. And there's so much available online. And what's important, though, is that we just don't get teachings, but that we actually practice with it, because that's how the teachings come to life. And, that we've heard Mingyur Rinpoche talk about how we all have this innate nature that is pure, pristine, that is imbued with love, compassion, wisdom. And for some of us, it might not feel true. And the only way we're going to know is if we look for ourselves. But we have to look, see if this is true. How do we recognize this? And how do we live within this recognition? How do we live as a human being with all the ups and downs? You know, as Mingyur Rinpoche often says, the stock market, you know, everything going up and down, subject to change. How do we live with impermanence? How do we live being at home in our own being? How do we live in a world where we respect and we care for everyone that we're interconnected with? And, you know, another lesson of this time has been the interconnectedness. And really, for me, that felt like a significant teaching in these times, to see how, when all of the decisions that I might make as an individual, I need to remember everybody around me as I make these decisions. Know that we are not separate from, we are here together in this. And to allow that interconnection with love, compassion, respect, care. So I think our time here is coming to an end. Is there anything I have missed? Christine, you can let me know. But I just want to say I rejoice in our being here. We will do a dedication, and but I'll just check, make sure we're good. Okay, so let's just take a moment to come back into our own experience. To reflect on our time here. How we've turned up. The intention with which we came. How within this time we've been looking to nurture these qualities that are within us. Love, compassion, wisdom. Just rejoicing, appreciating this, regardless of what we judge our experience to be. We turned up. Appreciating that we were able to do this with people from around the world. And just having the sense of letting all of this energy that's come from this time ripple out into the world to help, to benefit all beings everywhere. So that all beings can rest in peace, be at ease. And flourish to their full potential. Okay. So if people want to say goodbye in the chat, please do. I really thank you for being here, and do apologize for the technical difficulties in the beginning. But so be it. Yeah, that's life. And just hoping that our paths cross again soon, and just grateful to each and every one of you. Thank you.